Wrexham had seen quite a big explosion in the number of migrant workers in the area. It's an area that's not been used to big influx of people from outside.
There were some tensions in Kaya Park, particularly around the housing of refugee and asylum seekers, which had erupted into some fairly violent disturbances.
It made us more aware as a council with regard to perhaps some rumblings under the surface, and also perhaps made us aware that we needed to be a bit more upfront regarding tackling some of the issues of race, you know, particularly amongst perhaps more deprived communities such as Kaya.
There was a real climate on Kaya Park in 2004 when the programme started to be discussed around the need to challenge perhaps some misconceptions about those incidents on Kaya Park, but also to perhaps to build up some capacity in the area and some confidence about welcoming and working with communities from different backgrounds.
We needed to tackle the issue head on. At the same time, we needed to perhaps try and build bridges between what we referred to as the host community and the migrant workers and the asylum seekers and refugees, because what was happening historically is there was support being provided, but there was very little being done to actually build those bridges. And Fairshare, I think, did build those bridges.
The Kaya Park Partnership was invited along right at the beginning when the whole programme was being designed. And our interest was because we'd already started informally supporting migrant workers who'd started to come to Wrexham the year before. We had very few resources to do that, so we were interested in the fact that this programme would be addressing support to migrant workers. So we helped develop the whole kind of programme as a whole, and then we made an application for funding to support migrant workers.
The council, working with VOW, coordinated consultation events with a wide range of partners. So that included different council departments, other statutory sector partners, fire and rescue service, police, health service, so on. But also a broad range of voluntary and community sector organisations, just to try and understand what were the challenges that they were facing, but also the gaps that they really felt they couldn't meet. Consistently, asylum seekers and refugees, migrant workers and gypsy and traveller communities came up as people's top 3 priorities.
The Fairshare funding has allowed for certain other organisations within Wrexham to come together and do some of the work that has absolutely made a huge difference to the work that I do. I coordinate a third-party reporting project for victims of hate crime, and as the Fairshare priorities have been concentrated around gypsy and travellers, asylum seekers, migrant workers and refugees, it's provided real links for me to actually meet up with people and get some of the training out there and allow people to report crimes to me, and therefore enabled us to help resolve some of the situations.
Originally, Clubby I Plant Cymru Kids Clubs started with a Fairshare project just because of the inclusion work that we were already trying to do. Time was limiting us with what we could actually do. So we applied for the funding to give me some extra hours, and then we were able to put on the training for the play workers and all the settings in Wrexham, and really promote inclusion, change the way people were sort of thinking, you know, making them more proactive in attracting migrant worker children, gypsy traveller children, asylum seeker and refugee children.
We now have 31 children from migrant worker families attending out of school clubs that from different backgrounds, and there's a real success story in that St Anne's Out of School Club on Kaya Park. They had problems with sustainability, but in fact they had so many migrant worker children attending after this project that it's now ensured the future viability of the club.
We're an area of school deprivation here, and we've got a very, very diverse school population. At the present on roll we've got about 34% EAL children and the 17% travellers. I feel the club has been really beneficial, particularly for our EAL children, because it's given them an opportunity to develop their language skills in an informal setting.
Delo pot para câmara disto, delo.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
It's been helpful because I'm in college and I finish at 3, so I did have time to pick up them. So it's very helpful.
My son can be really high and he loves to express himself. He's a bit of a handful, but coming to after school club has really helped him.
We get funding from college to support parents for their training. We get funding from Avowed for assisted places as well for children with special needs to come. The children and the parents really enjoy club. Children don't want to go on when parents pick them up. The children say, "Oh, can we stay a bit longer?" So that to us is good.
We also have children attending from the 2 local schools, so that's really helps with community relationships. And the children all mix really well together.
My name is Daniela and I come here most of the week. I've been coming for a few years now, and I come here because my mum and dad work till 5, so there would be no one to pick me up. And I quite enjoy coming here because I get to play with my friends after school.
My name's Aaliyah, and because I come here because my mum works in college and she does child protection.
We put on network evenings to train the play workers, just to get over to them that certain people from different cultures actually have barriers to going into the clubs. So by being more proactive, they've been able to break down these barriers and attract the new communities into the settings.
My involvement with Club Plant Cymru is we've been able to access their network evenings and been given resources and much needed support to achieve the sustainability of our club. We see the Holiday Club especially as not only a much needed resource for parents that are working, but also it's such a fun environment for children, for them to integrate, for them to gain sort of life experience as well.
I would say the biggest difference is the way that people are very proactive. So I might go into a club now and straight away the play workers will actually say to me, "Oh, you'll be really proud we've got," you know, and they will actually save this number of new children that they've had coming into their settings. So it's actually made people really stop and think about the way that they're promoting themselves and just being more proactive instead of sort of being complacent and kind of just expecting people to come through their door. They now realise that there are barriers that some people face, and they've addressed these, and it's just helped the clubs become more sustainable. It's just helping everybody really.
The aims and objectives of the Gypsy and Traveller Inclusion Project were to work with the Gypsy and Traveller community in Wrexham to break down the barriers that they felt that they had in accessing services. The whole point of the project was to try and get the Gypsy and Traveller community to have their own voice and to be more confident in attending meetings and getting over what the issues of the community are in a more formal way. And one of the things that we were doing was working with the council's community cohesion department, who had set up reference group meetings which brings together migrant workers, refugee and asylum seekers, people living in Wrexham, and using that as a forum for talking about issues that all these different groups were having. You know, do you think those meetings were important?
Them meetings was very important because it allowed people to mix. It allowed the police to come into the meetings. It allowed people from the outside to come in and help them share them views and things. And it allowed them to mix and feel comfortable with each other. These meetings have helped the travellers to have a voice. They really have.
The way that the project worked was, because I was in the CAB to start off with, it's very important to build a relationship with the community. And so the way we went about doing that was using the advice that I give to the community, using that as a means of starting up that relationship. So I'd basically go around the sites, say who I was, say I'm working for Wrexham Citizens Advice Bureau, and I was able to, you know, help with letter reading, basic welfare rights stuff, and so managed to build up a community that build up the relationship with the community that way. We also celebrated Gypsy Roma Traveller History Month, which is always in June. And this time we did it in a park in the middle of town. And I think probably one of the proudest moments was that through the work that the project had done and the capacity and confidence that the project had built in, one of the community members was comfortable enough to actually give a welcoming speech at the start of the event.
Yeah, I had to make a speech. It was very embarrassing as well. I think it was quite good, the last Traveller and Gypsy History Month we had. It was the best one we've had so far, wasn't it?
It was.
It allowed people to mix. Lots of people was there from everywhere, wasn't it? And they were mixing. It was the best ever, the one we've ever had. And I hope the next one be as good.
Using the project, we've put on weekly reading and writing sessions. We hold them every Tuesday evening in a local community centre that was identified by members of the Gypsy Traveller community as somewhere that they'd be comfortable accessing. And we get a really good mixture of people as well. We get both men and women. We get people from the sites, we get people from private sites, we get people from bricks and mortar housing. So it's a whole cross-section of the Gypsy and Traveller community that we have in Wrexham. And we can use that as a means of getting external agencies more engaged with the community as well, because if anyone wants to start engaging with the community, they can come along to the reading and writing, act as teaching assistants and start building up that trust and relationship with the community. The projects have you know, enabled the community to build their capacity and increase their confidence so that they're able to advocate for themselves more and have their own voice, and that's what's really important, is that the community have their own voice and are able to feel confident and also feel that agencies are going to listen to the issues that they have.
They're now engaged in a number of routine consultation processes that partners take forward. They have developed themselves the Gypsy Roma Traveller History Month programme, and that's delivered to the wider community of Wrexham. So there are cohesion benefits there as the wider community are more understanding of the traveller community.
Although a lot of the Fair Share stuff was around enjoyment or fun or engagement work, there's been a real effort behind it to actually really influence some of the policies and the procedures that the council and other organisations have made. I know it's made a big difference to the CAB in the way that they now engage with the traveller community in their mainstream activities, but also with migrant workers. There's been a real lasting effect of the funding that we've received in Wrexham, because organisations really have changed the way that they approach the work that they do.
One of the really good things about Fair Share is the fact that it's been able to bring agencies together, and we wouldn't have had that coordination if it wasn't for Fair Share. We wouldn't have been able to have had people from the Citizens Advice Bureau working with people from the Welsh Refugee Council, people from the council, people from Balzo. So having that coordination and having Fair Share as an overarching theme in Wrexham has been really valuable, because it has brought those agencies closer together.
Had we not actually sort of started from the grassroots, I think we wouldn't have been successful as we have been. And I think if you look at sort of community cohesion in Wrexham, you know, the efforts that the council made together with the Community Foundation and Fair Share have shown that it is possible to actually sort of tackle some of these issues head on, but perhaps to have a sort of an honest discourse with people. And more importantly then, the individuals themselves who are involved then become sort of the big trees from which little acorns are grown, really, and it makes it a lot more sort of likely that I think the thing will continue. because of course that's what's important as well. You know, the funding is there for a while. What we have to do is to try and sow the seeds to make sure that sort of, you know, what we've started really continues afterwards.
Just in terms of the legacy, all of the organisations that work together, we're still working together. Perhaps not quite so formally or regularly, but we've built up a kind of trust and networking, which means that we are able to quickly contact each other if there are opportunities, and we keep in touch as well. So there's kind of an informal network of organisations that are committed to what's the word? We're committed to Wrexham being more welcoming to people from diverse backgrounds.